Good afternoon. It's Wednesday, August 19th. I'm Laura Kornfield, and this is IBA News broadcasting from Jerusalem. Israel today agreed to release hunger-striking Palestinian prisoner Mohammed Alan in early November if he agrees to end his life-threatening hunger strike. The state made the offer just ahead of today's high court hearing on the matter. Alan is currently being treated at Barzilai Medical Center in Ashkelon, where doctors say he remains in Last night, Alan regained consciousness and informed the state that he was rejecting its offer to free him if he agreed to deportation for at least 4 years. Associated with the Islamic Jihad, Alan has agreed to receive some medical essentials from Barzilai Hospital to keep him alive. He has been on hunger strike for 65 days and was taken off a respirator yesterday morning following a marked improvement in his condition. Alan's attorney told the Israeli media that they are still demanding his immediate release.
We are asking at this moment that we are asking the immediate release of Mohammed Alan in his position today at this moment in hospital. He is in no condition to impose any security threat on the state of Israel or on any individual in the state of Israel, and therefore he must be released now. We will not withdraw from this immediate demand, nor will we now compromise due to his medical situation. He is not a security threat and he must be released now. The condition that he is now is because of the state of Israel had provided him and had put him in this situation, in his medical situation.
Thai security officials say that the man suspected of planting a deadly bomb in Bangkok this week is part of a wider network. Thailand's police chief presented a drawing of the chief suspect, whose identity remains a mystery. There has still been no claim of responsibility, and the motive for the attack, in which more than 20 people were killed, is still unknown. 68 people remain in critical condition after the blast that shredded bodies and incinerated vehicles at one of the Thai capital's busiest intersections. A $1 million reward has been posted for information leading to the arrest of the main suspect. Meanwhile, Bangkok is getting back to normal. Near the blast site, the popular Erawan Shrine has been reopened, although security remains high at the most major tourist attractions. The Erawan Shrine and its surroundings have been largely restored, and the pools of congealed blood have been scrubbed away. Back here at home, visiting the northern border, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned that Israel would strike hard at those who try to harm it. While on tour of the Northern Command headquarters in Tzfat, Netanyahu said, "We are ready for any eventuality." Accompanied by Defense Minister Moshe Ya'alon, the Prime Minister said he came to the border to see firsthand the Army's preparedness for the threats coming from the north, which he laid squarely at Iran's doorstep. Never missing an opportunity to attack the Iranian nuclear deal, Netanyahu told reporters escorting him that the money that will flow to Iran in the wake of the agreement with the six world powers will be used to strengthen the terrorist organizations operating against us. They are Iranian proxies who have vowed to destroy Israel. Peace between Israel and the Palestinians can be achieved within 2 years. That's the view of opposition leader Isaac Herzog, who met Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas yesterday in Ramallah. During the meeting, Abbas reaffirmed his commitment to a peace process based on international resolutions, leading to the establishment of an independent Palestinian state on the basis of the pre-1967 lines. Herzog told the Palestinian leader that there can be no compromises with the war on terror, but peace can come soon if there is enough goodwill. Speaking to the media after the meeting, Herzog warned that recent terrorist attacks could lead to a third intifada, which we must prevent by all means at our disposal. The Zionist Union leader went on to say that courageous steps must be taken by both sides. We should not be afraid. We must be willing to take risks to ensure a better future for both nations. Republican presidential candidate Mike Huckabee is visiting Israel and began his stay with a visit to the Jewish community of Shiloh in the West Bank. Speaking to Israel Television's Yaakov Achimeir, Huckabee spoke of his support for Judea and Samaria to become part of Israel. He also elaborated on his recent comment relating to the Iranian nuclear agreement. The former Arkansas governor received a great deal of criticism for using Holocaust imagery when he said that the Obama administration is marching Israel to the door of the oven.
Governor Huckabee, you are running for the presidency of the United States, and
thanks for reminding me. I've got a lot to do about that.
Thank you, Governor. What are your plans for the so-called territories?
Yaakov, I recognize Judea and Samaria as part of Israel, and I believe that it's most important that we realize that there are more Jews living in Judea and Samaria than most people ever realize, and that those numbers are significant. It's an important part of the security of Israel, and so I'm not in the least concerned about coming to any part of Judea and Samaria. It was the Iranians who invoked the imagery and the very word Holocaust. They have said that they have developed missiles that will deliver Israel to the Holocaust. Those are their words. Israeli officials regularly remind the people of Israel and the people of the world that the Iranians' intent is to wipe Israel off the face of the map. And as an American, I'm concerned that the second thing that the Iranians threaten and have for 36 years is that they will bring death to America, a chant that they made even as they were negotiating.
Another U.S. senator from the Democratic Party has come out against the Iranian nuclear deal. Speaking at Seton Hall University, New Jersey Senator Robert Menendez issued a scathing critique of the deal, becoming the second senior lawmaker from President Obama's own party who has declared his intention to oppose the pact.
In essence, we thought the agreement would be rollback for rollback. You roll back your infrastructure, and we'll roll back our sanctions. And at the end of the day, what we appear to have is a rollback of sanctions, and Iran only limiting its capability, but not dismantling or rolling it back. So what do we get? We get an alarm bell should they decide to violate their commitments, and a system for inspections to verify their compliances. That, in my view, is a far cry from significant dismantling. Now, while I have many specific concerns about this agreement, my overarching concern is that it requires no dismantling of Iran's nuclear infrastructure and only mothballs that infrastructure for 10 years. Not even one centrifuge will be destroyed under this agreement. We should authorize now the means for Israel to address the Iranian threat on their own in the event that Iran accelerates its program, and to counter Iranian perceptions that our own threat to use force is not credible. And we should make it absolutely clear that we want a deal, but we want the right deal. And that a deal that does nothing more than delay the inevitable isn't a deal we are willing to make. I have looked into my own soul, and my devotion to principle may once again lead me to an unpopular course. But if Iran is to acquire a nuclear bomb, it will not have my name on it. It is for these reasons that I will vote to disapprove the agreement, and if called upon, would vote to override a veto. Thank you, and may God bless the United States of America.
Turning to the gas deal between Israel and the Delek and Noble Energy groups, deflecting criticism of the agreement, the newly appointed economics advisor to Energy Minister Yuval Steinitz told Arutz Sheva that implementation of the agreement will boost the country's geopolitical standing while providing major savings for the nation's consumers.
I think the proposal that was passed by the government 2 days ago is achieving those goals. In other words, there will be a structural change. The partnership will be compelled to sell its holdings. Delek, the Israeli partner, will sell its entire holdings in Tamar and remain only with its holding in Leviathan. Noble will reduce its holding in Tamar to 25% and will have no veto power there. So there will be eventually, at the end of the day, there will be 3 players in the Israeli gas market. Tamar, 2 new deposits which have been discovered called Karish and Tanin, which also the current partnership will be compelled to sell, and will supply the Israeli market, and Leviathan, which will have to be developed within the next 5 years. So I think there is a chance, not certainty, but a good chance that Israel will face 3 major players instead of 1 in the current market, a much better pricing situation, and export possibilities in a world in which the trend of gas prices in the world is downwards, and therefore we should use the window of opportunity now, if there are some deals with Egypt, in addition to the geostrategic aspects of the deals with Egypt and with Jordan, which are pending now and will be soon finalized, given the approval of this new proposal in the government, then I'm saying Israel and those countries have a strategic interest to finalize those deals, and therefore I think what is proposed here will be a serious improvement.
At this hour, renowned Israeli actress Rama Messinger is being laid to rest at the cemetery in Moshav Bnei Atorot near Lod. Earlier in the day, her casket was placed in front of the Habima Theater so the public could pay their final respects. Messinger passed away yesterday at the age of 46 after a long battle with cancer. She appeared in countless plays, television shows, and films, and was well known for her vocal abilities, including performances in Fiddler on the Roof, The Sound of Music, Piaf, and The Taming of the Shrew. Messinger was still on stage just 2 months ago at Beit Lesson when her doctors told her it was time to stop appearing. She leaves behind a husband and 3 children. In medical news, the FDA has just approved a drug to treat low sexual desire in women, much like Viagra does for men. CNN has all the juicy details.
For more than 15 years, the little blue pill has been a champion for its creator, Pfizer.
This is the age of taking action. Viagra.
It's been so successful, the movie Love and Other Drugs immortalized the Viagra salesman.
Men without a useful erection in years. Minimum side effects, long-term safety. This isn't a pill. This is a revolution.
But what about a pill for women? Just 5 years ago, the situation was grim.
Ira, tell me, how many drugs do you have for men with sex problems?
Currently 3 prescription medications, Viagra, Levitra, and Cialis.
And how many drugs do you have for women with sexual problems?
Currently no prescription medications.
According to one study, the most common sexual problem for women, low desire. And women I met were literally in tears about it.
You know, sometimes I think it would be better if I'd never met my husband, because he's such a wonderful guy and he doesn't deserve this. I wonder if it would just be better if he had met somebody else.
The problem? For women, desire is in the brain, and it's hard to fix the brain. Stanford University researchers put women in MRIs to investigate, just like I'm doing here.
Now, here's the really interesting part. While these women with low libido were lying there in the MRI machines, they were actually watching pornography, and the MRI was registering their brain's reaction. I mean, this is so graphic. It's hard to imagine not having much of a reaction to it.
Yeah, but if your brain's working differently and you don't have, enough of a certain neurotransmitter, then you're not going to react to it.
Pharmaceutical companies chased chemical romance with little success until just this week. After 2 FDA rejections, the drug flibanserin made it one step closer to pharmacies when an FDA panel recommended the drug get approval. One woman who took flibanserin in a study says her libido improved in just 2 weeks.
And all of a sudden, I had a flutter, and it was not like a flutter in my heart. It was a further south.
She says there's been a long wait for the little pink pill.
It's not an easy conversation to have with the man that you love, to say, hey, I love you, I'm highly attracted to you, but for some reason, I just don't want to cozy up and have sex. I think women finally are on a level playing ground, or heading in the right direction to being on a level playing ground.
The Israel Antiquities Authority has signed an agreement to provide artifacts to the Museum of the Bible, set to open in Washington, D.C. in 2017. The authority will have a 4,000 square foot exhibit space in the museum where it will display biblical artifacts from the land of Israel. But as we see in this report from VOA, the Christian-funded museum project is raising eyebrows in the U.S. Capitol.
If you come to Washington to see the museums, there are plenty to choose from. There's the American Indian Museum, the very popular Air and Space Museum, even a spy museum. And pretty soon, in this former warehouse, there will be a Bible museum.
The Washington Press Corps was invited to see demolition work
and a glimpse of what the $400 million museum will look like when it's scheduled to open in 2017.
What you're going to see here today is
Museum officials said the history of the Bible will be presented through multimedia exhibits, ancient Torah scrolls, parchments from the New Testament, and other items from the huge private collection of its chairman, Steve Green. An evangelical Christian, he believes in spreading the gospel.
So do you hope it might bring other people to Christianity?
We would hope people would consider what the book has to say, and that's a choice that they make, and if it's compelling, that is a decision that they can make on their own. But we believe it's something that everybody ought to consider.
Green is a key figure in America's culture wars. Last year, his family business won a Supreme Court case against having to pay for his employees' birth control.
No, I think that this was Florida.
Reverend Barry Lynn of Americans United for the Separation of Church and State doesn't oppose the museum on constitutional grounds.
There's no question that if you want to build a museum to the Bible, the Quran, any building at all, and someone is willing to sell you the property, you have the right to buy it in this country.
Instead, he sees it as proof that conservative Christians are trying to force government to legislate according to their faith.
I can't believe that the people who created the Bible Museum wanted this to be anywhere but close to the center of power and close to other official government buildings.
Bible Museum President Carrie Summers says that's not true.
The decision was made to be in Washington because of the museums here. It really was not because the Capitol is here.
But the museum will be just 2 blocks from the National Mall, and the idea of an institution devoted to any religious text will continue to cause concern for Americans who believe in limiting the role of religion in the public square. Jerome Sokolovsky, VOA News, Washington.
Some 400 young scientists and students from 70 countries around the world are currently participating in an international science conference where they've been privileged to interact with 15 Nobel Prize laureates. IBA's Ariel Sullivan was there and filed this report.
It's called the World Science Conference Israel and has brought hundreds of promising young scientists to the campus of the Hebrew University at Givat Ram in Jerusalem to attend lectures, interact with, and be inspired by Nobel laureates and leading scientists from around the world.
I think it's really a great idea to make this conference because it's not so usual to come somewhere and to see like 15 Nobel laureates coming together here, like from different countries and from different spheres, like chemistry, physics, maths, and economy. So it's really incredible for me, and I'm really pleasant that I'm here.
It's nice to see the contrast between the different wisdom which they have, and it's quite interesting sometimes when they actually contradict each other in their advice, because it shows that there is no one path which you need to follow to be successful in science.
Have you been able to network at all?
Yeah, one system which I thought was good is that we've been stuck in groups deliberately with people from other countries so that we have to network with each other, and I think that's been very successful.
The highlight was meeting with the Nobel Prize winners.
On a scientific issue, they asked me, which for me is very gratifying, they asked me questions on my scientific work. What does it mean? How could I explain what I said in the lecture, and so on. So clearly there are bright people among them.
I think that the most important subject to study in our generation is understanding the human body. Totally. Is it chemistry? Yes. Physics? Yes. Mathematics, materials, biology? Yes. It's everything. Today, the sciences converge. We still use the names physics, chemistry, material science, biology, but it's all the same thing. They converge. And in order to understand the human body, you need all the sciences to come together. And I think that now we have a real chance to really penetrate into the secrets of the functions of our biology.
The students were all chosen after a rigorous application process.
Every moment we meet one new person from different country, like it's great. I feel comfortable with 10 different people from 10 different countries. I am totally away from my Indian group, and it feels amazing.
So when you go back to India, what are you going to say?
It was an amazing experience. I have made new friends, and I think it will be a superb international collaboration, and hope that I get a chance to work in Israel in future, or maybe in any other country.
Who knows? There's a chance that some in the crowd here may be a future Nobel Prize winner. Ariel Sullivan for IBA News.
A Spanish music festival that disinvited Jewish-American reggae singer Matisiao over his refusal to endorse a Palestinian state has issued an apology and another invitation to the singer to perform, this according to Spanish media reports. The Rotterdam Sunsplash Reggae Festival says it rejects any form of discrimination and anti-Semitism, and that it's sorry for canceling Matisiao's August 22nd show. Some 12,000 Israeli fans of superstar Mariah Carey turned out for her sold-out concert last night at the Rishon LeZion Live Park Amphitheater. The 45-year-old diva belted out tunes to the delight of the audience and used several opportunities to say how much she loves our country. A fan posted "Without You" on YouTube. In local money matters, the shekel was down in foreign currency trading, while shares were also down in the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange. Here are the late afternoon numbers. Turning to the weather, and a slight drop in temperatures will be felt tomorrow, but it will still remain hotter than normal for this time of the year. Here's the forecast at home and abroad for the next 24 hours. And this note before closing, the Magen David Adom emergency services are appealing to the public to donate blood. The summer vacation and accompanying heat wave have caused a significant drop in blood donations across the country, which could lead to serious health issues in hospitals and the delay of necessary surgeries. Those of our viewers who are O+ or any type of Rh negative blood are asked to donate. To find the closest donation center, contact www.mdais.org. Again, that's www.mdais.org. And that's all for this newscast. Aaron Viner will be here tomorrow with more news from Israel and abroad. Until then, I'm Laura Cornfield, wishing you a great evening and shalom from Jerusalem.